Welcome back to the Pick 199 podcast, episode 59. We've got a news special this week, and I'm here with Muzzy,
Hey.
Snakeo,
Sup?
and Coxie.
Hey, boys.
And without further ado, we're going to jump straight into the news. We've had some pretty big sporting events over the past week, and Snakeo's going to kick us off with the Cricket 2020 World Cup.
So we're down to the final four. We've gone through both group stages and we've got our four finalists. Group 2 was probably the easiest side of the draw, but the big shock was India, considering the size of the India Premier League, to go out and they did it with the game to spare too. They didn't even have to play all their games. They can't make it. So Pakistan and New Zealand go through to the final four there. They'll play England and Australia. South Africa are unlucky. The first round loss to Australia probably really hurt them, considering they managed to pull a massive upset win against England. But the disappointment of this line is probably the West Indies, who were the defending champions. So that they also seen the retirement of Dwayne Bravo, and Chris Gale, he probably won't be back. So he said he's not retiring. He just doesn't think they'll pick him in 4 years. So there is a difference. But it sees Australia go to play Pakistan. That game is in 3 days' time. And then you got England against New Zealand. For me, I think the winner of the World Cup comes out of the New Zealand-England game, to tell you the truth. But I wouldn't be shocked if Pakistan upset everyone. Only team to go undefeated. And they've played really well. Babar Azam has been sensational. So the other teams have probably been carried by a player, but Pakistan across the board have been very good. But Babar Azam, who's faced criticism in the past because his batting averages are up there with the best in the world, but they criticise him because he doesn't play the best teams. He's proving that he is world class. So, a tip to win it's Pakistan, but they have to beat Australia in the next round. So, I think it'll come out of Group B, Pakistan or New Zealand.
If Pakistan win, will they be the first team to win 2 2020 World Cups?
I believe so. Maybe the West Indies.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I think maybe the West Indies
because
back to back.
Pakistan won early on though too, didn't they?
I think they did. I think they might have, yeah. But I think the West Indies have had a lot of success in 2020.
Yeah, that New Zealand and England game is going to be an absolute cracker. I think. Like England are in that.
If you're going to watch a game of cricket, if you want to watch something that's going to be exciting, watch that game. Watch that England New Zealand game, especially after that was the one-day World Cup final and the controversial circumstances that New Zealand lost that. I reckon New Zealand will be right up for it.
Yeah.
Kane Williamson is in great form, so
yeah.
No, look for the Kiwis.
No chance for Australia?
There's a definite chance. I think finishing top 4 for Australia is a really good result, but because I think in the world rankings, I think we're 6th.
Yeah.
In 2020, it's just because we don't play much of it.
We don't put much stead in like our 2020 though either. Like
we really don't. Like where the other teams around the world, like they have a T20 team. As is a lot of test players that just play 3 formats.
You think that's the right choice?
You rely on people like David Warner and.
Yeah. Do you think that's the right choice in terms of the team? Like I know it's worked this time, but it hasn't worked in previous years. And do you think they need to focus more like on using better players from like the Big Bash or something to?
Well, we do try and do that because we do it when we have overlapping schedules with the test summer. But the issue is whenever we do it, they're not successful. So like if those players that dominate the Big Bash want to do that, like what India do, they need to win those tours.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they don't. That's why we're ranked like 8th. So.
Yeah, well, we're lucky to qualify in the end, weren't we? So.
Yeah.
No, very good. Well, with that, we'll move on to the next bit of news. And we had Australian Madison De Rosario winning the New York Marathon. So for those who don't know, Madison's a Paralympian, and she's had pretty good success at the Paralympics with golds and silvers and stuff. And this is just like another medal to her mantelpiece. So really well done to Madison De Rosario.
And it's a race in which, especially in the disability category, we've had a lot of success. Because Kurt Fernley won it a few times. It's something we've done well in the past, and she's a true champion. She's awesome.
Absolutely. Moving on, some bad news for the Australian girls in the Billie Jean King Cup. We went down to Switzerland in our semi-finals, I think it was for the Billie Jean Cup. I think the biggest thing was Ash Barty wasn't taking part in this leg of the event. So we're always got to be on the back foot to come back and get the win. So
yeah, she's not playing again until after Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Moving on, we had the Mexican Grand Prix over the weekend with Max Verstappen coming out the winner, just ahead of Lewis Hamilton, and Sergio Perez had an absolute blinder to get up to third. So good win for Max. He's now 19 points clear of Lewis Hamilton and with 4 races to go. So it's the tightest championship we've had in about 5 years. So, so very, very good
Which is
result
good
there.
because F1 often it's a one-horse race or one.
It's normally based off the cars. Normally just
one.
Well, yeah.
constructor
If you go off
goes
the
off and
Mercedes
wins
car,
one or two.
the Mercedes car the last 4 years has been absolutely dominant, and no one's looked close up until this year. So good result in the end. Moving on, we had UFC 268 over the weekend with. Hang on, I'll just bring it up. So starting with Justin Gaethje getting the unanimous decision over Michael Chandler. Good win for Justin Gaethje, and he looked really good to be back at his best after his last loss. So
Chandler looks good too. He's a good knockout fighter. He's coming up. Gaethje did well to nullify that and sort of keep himself in. So I think it's a really good win for him. Sort of a bit of a bounce back after a lull, couple of years or so, or a year or a bit. So good win for him.
Was it Khabib that he lost to? That I can't remember who he lost to last time.
I think it might be. I think it might be.
But that's high praise sort of for him to be the next dude. So I'm surprised that this fight wasn't further up in the main card. So But in saying that, moving on, we had Shane Burgos getting the win unanimously over Billy Quarantillo. I didn't see this fight, so I can't talk much on it, but good win for Shane Burgos. The next fight, we had Frankie Edgar losing to Marlon Vera in one of the craziest knockouts I think I've seen in a long time. Marlon Vera kicking the absolute shit out of Frankie Edgar's face, and it looked mashed up.
It was comic book-esque.
Yeah.
There was a few comic book comparisons come out later, but it looked messed up.
Oh, it was a big knockout, and Frankie Edgar, I don't know, he continues to fight, but whether or not they get to the point where they go, you need to stop.
Yeah,
will be the next thing, I think.
It's sad to see fighters towards the end of their career. Not that I'm saying that it is, but it's sort of looking like that way. When they start to slip towards the end of their career, but maybe he'll change something up. And I mean, if Aldo was able to go thinner and seem better, maybe Edgar will do this. I'm not saying that he needs to thin out, but maybe he needs to put on a bit of weight. But try and change something up. But all the signs point to a sad departure towards the end of his career.
He's not going to take the hits at flyweight that he does at bantam.
That's right. Yeah.
That's it. Moving on, we had an absolute belter of a fight between Rose Namajunas and Whaley Chang. If you remember, Whaley Chang is the fighter who put that beating on Joanna Jędrzejczyk.
That
was
gave-
probably arguably the fight of the
that
century.
is the
Yeah.
fight. That's the
That was-
best fight I've ever watched, I reckon.
Oh man, it was crazy, and like
It was
you think
insane.
the amount of damage that Whaley Chang did to Joanna Jędrzejczyk, like she looked like an alien by the end of the fight. Like that hematoma that was on her head was absolutely disgusting, and for Thug Rose to sort of come out and be able to defend herself against that sort of punishment, well done to her. So
Yeah.
absolute cracker. On to the main fight, and this was an absolute belter as well. Kamaru Usman, a Nigerian nightmare, getting the unanimous decision over Colby Covington in one of the best title fights in a while. Colby gave it to him this time around. Like he was there the whole fight, and
it definitely looked a lot more competitive in this round ago. But I think in terms of matchups, this is a nightmare matchup for Colby though, and I think because Kamaru is so dominant in the wrestling, and Colby has relied on that for a majority of his career, it's really hard for him to break that down. And to find out, I think the style matchup, they're so similar, but Kamaru just seems to be that step ahead.
Yeah,
Just
like,
come out and said he's really improved in his like punches. Like they were a lot heavier. Like you could he'd worked on it, but Kamaru's just a champion. Like
I think if you're going to get Kamaru,
just get it done.
if you're going to get Kamaru to step up and like take on someone, this is the fight to do it. And he did that last time around. Like he absolutely belted Colby last time around. But I mean, credit Kamaru Usman even gave Colby Covington credit to sort of to say like he was there the whole time. So
it puts this division in all sorts of shambles though, because where does Kamaru go now? Because he said numerous times he won't go up because he doesn't want to fight Izzy.
Yeah.
Like it puts this division like he's ravaged most of that division.
And
the other thing is too, he's too big to go down.
Yeah.
So he's sort of stuck there unless they start introducing more weight classes, which doesn't look like they're going to do anytime soon. So
and he come out and said Colby he's the number one contender.
Yeah.
So he was the best option to fight, and he did him easy. He's done it twice. So
do you think this sort of result though too, does that like and now it's sort of like where does Kamaru go from here? I'm really hoping that he doesn't go to the point where he gets to the point like Tyron Woodley did, where Tyron Woodley just got distracted with everything like movies and whatnot. Yeah. And music and whatever he was doing. I know they're two completely different sort of people. Yeah.
Yeah. He does a little bit of commentary, but to me, he seems like a pretty down to earth kind of person. From a distance, obviously, but I don't think he goes that way. I think he's extremely disciplined. And I think pound for pound, he's number one in the world. So,
do you think he's better than Izzy?
Pound for pound, probably. Yeah. I don't know.
I don't think we can understate what Izzy's done to that division and then moved up.
Yeah.
Like he cleared out that division and then went up a division.
Yeah.
I think Kamaru is really limiting himself by not changing the division, because I think he's definitely on the brink of clearing welterweight out.
Yeah. Well, I think he's now done it. I think he's
I think if he was ever going to be double champ of something, he'd be welterweight and middleweight.
Yeah.
But it's just a shame that we probably won't see that.
I reckon if Izzy went, right, I'm going to go and fight light heavyweight, I think Kamaru would go up in a heartbeat.
I think Izzy might have considered that if he had to beat Jan Blachowicz, though.
I
think that loss is sort of like realigned where his priorities are.
I just think he tried to bite off too much the first time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, test the theory first, like stay light, fight fast. Well, that was the idea, but I think he just bit off too big a fish in the first crack. But
Yeah.
So I'd love to watch Izzy have another go at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Not very good. Well, that wraps up UFC 268. And we'll jump across to Canelo Alvarez getting the knockout win against Caleb Plant. Canelo just looking like the absolute masterclass genius that he is.
Oh, there's not enough words for me to describe how much I like this bloke. Seriously. He just dominates everyone.
Mm.
He's that much of a spectacle that Dana White can sit in the front row of his own event and have this fight in front of him. That's what happened. So I think he also had like $1 million bet on the fight or something. But so the knockout itself, I've seen a clip of it ringside, and he's just too fast, too strong. And talk about clearing out divisions. He's cleared them all out. So
yeah. Was this super middleweight? So he's like got all the belts too. So
if there's a weight category, he's pretty much won it. So he's just dominant. He's just so dominant. So
he's a beast.
I don't know who he fights next.
I don't think there's many people out there that can match him.
There's no one out there that wants to fight him anymore. Like, one of the great shames is that there was never a rematch between him and Floyd Mayweather. That's one of the great shames, because I think Canelo won that fight originally. Interesting points decision went against him, and it's a real shame that they never got to have the rematch, because I think if he wins,
Floyd was too smart to fight him again.
And Mayweather was never going to fight him again after he knew he got beat the first time. But we would have looked at this guy in a completely different light. So, not that many people don't see him as an absolute champion.
No, very good. Jumping across, something that Coxie can talk about, but we've seen Australian Josh Giddey absolutely dominate, and he's starting to get the applause from NBA media and pundits. So he's absolutely having an absolute cracker start to the season. And he's an OKC player, isn't he, Coxie?
Oh, it's fantastic, mate.
I want to expand on that.
Nah, it's good, mate. It's good. Awesome.
I tell you, it is good to watch an Aussie point guard actually put on a show and on the court instead of the one that Ben Simmons is putting on off it.
That is a fair call. I do like that call. And we also have Paddy Mills playing pretty well too at the minute. The Aussies
Pretty well is an understatement.
are flying the flag pretty well for Australia. So good on them, and hopefully we can see more of these young Australian players doing well.
Yep.
And last but not least, we'll move across to the MLB, where the Atlanta Braves have just beaten the Houston Astros 4 matches to 2. A good finish for Atlanta, and anything is good when they beat Houston. I think everyone was just happy to see Houston lose.
Yeah, after the debacle there was a couple of seasons ago when they won the World Series, everyone's happy now to watch them never win another one.
Yep.
And I've got a mate that's a massive Atlanta fan, so I was super happy for him because he's the biggest baseball nufty I know. So he finally had a little bit of joy. But yeah, top story. I think it was like 15 games in, they had a 0.38% chance of winning. It was something ridiculously low. So for them to come back from where they were to win 4-2, like they did it easy. So tremendous effort.
Last bit of news I got, boys, is are we looking forward to the Tommy Fury and Jake Paul fight, or?
I'll tell you what.
I don't know, on a bit of a smile, boys.
As much as I hate, like, I can't stand Jake Paul, but as a businessman, I have to give him credit because his fucking, like, his shit talking is just like well up there. So for those who don't know, there's a $1 million purse on it for for Tommy Fury if he wins, and he said he'll give him another 500 grand as well on top of that if he knocks him out or something.
Yeah.
But if Tommy Fury loses, he has to change his name to Tommy Fumbles for a year.
Yeah, and I heard apparently Tyson said as well. If he loses, he needs to quit boxing.
His dad John. So John Fury came out and said, "I'll retire him straight away if he loses Jake Paul." But it's going to be interesting because honestly, Tommy Fury did not look that great against his last fight.
No.
And I think using the Fury name, you'd like to say that he'll win, but I just don't know. I'm not sure that he's on any sort of level near what Tyson is technically or skillfully. So,
whatever happens, people are going to get paid. People will watch, and they'll put on a show. I think I'm more excited to watch Tyson walk into the ring, hyping the fight up, than I am the actual fight, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, fair. Do you think that there's going to be another clause in there that Tommy can't knock him out? Do you think he just ignores that and fucking tries to floor him?
They reckon there won't be. Apparently, it's supposed to be a properly sanctioned fight. So apparently, no clause is being added, and no plan on adding any clause. But we all know they can change fairly quickly.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
Well, did you see that Logan Paul's supposed to fight Mike Tyson?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did see that.
Surely that's the fixed fight of the cards.
I don't know. Mike's got enough money. He doesn't need it. You might just knock him out for fun.
But that's the thing. I think they like each other in a way that.
Yeah.
I
don't know. Mike's lost a lot of money through lawsuits, going to prison.
Do you reckon he takes a fall?
Yeah.
Surely not.
Wouldn't be surprised.
That could be. Well, we can't end on that sour note, boys. What are we looking forward to in the next week of sport?
Well, I've got the 2020 World Cup. That's pretty much where my head's at the minute. MotoGP's over, so Jack Miller finished 4th. Ducati won the Constructors' Championship. Apart from that, it's 2020 World Cup until cricket starts.
Boys, you got any football or anything that you're looking forward to?
Come on, mate. I'm a United fan. There's nothing to be looking forward to.
Maybe that's what I look forward to, is seeing Man United lose.
Champions League in 2 weeks. We got round 5, so that'll be pretty interesting. Wrap up, sort of clear up most of the groups and see who's going through, really. I think is the only other one sort of coming up.
Yeah.
And I'll finish off with I'm looking forward to the rest of the F1 season. It's looking pretty tight, and I think I'm hoping that Max Verstappen can pull out a championship win. Only because
his dad was a driver, wasn't he?
Yeah, Josh Verstappen. Yeah.
Josh Verstappen. Yeah, they're not on very good terms now. I don't think though. I think they're
Yeah. But with that, we'll end episode 59. That was the news for this week. Thanks for listening. Thanks for sticking around. We'll catch you next time.
Thank you.
Yeah.